Hey everyone, this is Steve Harris and welcome to the show where it doesn't matter where you start as long as you finish strong. I've been reading again, this time another book by my favorite author named Dan Heath. The overall message that he relates to is how we get stuck in a cycle of responding to issues rather than working to prevent those issues. He refers to it as upstream thinking versus downstream thinking. It's interesting because we tend to reward the downstream action, don't we? As a result, we end up handling one problem after another, and it feels like we are in this vicious cycle of putting out the same fire over and over again. For instance, we catch the repeat robber for committing the same crimes. We treat the same chronic illness with medication every single day. In the business world, we may handle the customer complaints by replacing the same worn-out items. But what if these things were preventable? What if we thought upstream instead of downstream? Could we prevent issues from happening over and over again? Do you, in fact, deal with the same mundane or troublesome tasks each day? And we just tend to accept it, that that's the way it is, that's the way it has to be. If you do, and I've done it too, it's referred to as problem blindness. But why do our efforts skew so heavily to the reactive downstream temporary fix as opposed to the upstream permanent solution? Probably the simplest reason is due to lack of ownership over the issue. We shuffle it off to be someone else's responsibility, or we're, quite honestly, maybe just a little too lazy to consider it our issue. Why? Because upstream prevention requires creative thought, and we think it requires a lot more effort as a result. But I'm not so sure that's true. I'm not so sure we put less time and effort into the upstream action versus the downstream action. Our problem is this. Too often we are too patient when it comes to taking action, and we're too impatient waiting for the outcome. I'll give you an example. You think of trying to lose 10 pounds. Whenever we finally decide to go to the gym that one time, we get there, we do our workout, we get home, and what do? We hop on the scale in hopes to immediately have lost those 10 pounds. We want big outcome with minimal activity. Instead, we need to flip the script. We need to be impatient for action, but patient for the outcome. Let me say that again. Impatient for action, but patient for outcomes. We need to have a bias for action. In other words, that's our go-to, is to take action. We need to bind ourselves to our priorities, and we need to be more willing to be the one who makes a difference. We're eager to complain, but not eager to take the action and provide the solution. It's not as easy, is it? At least in our mind. You want to dare to be different? You want to be that independent individual thinker that you claim to be? The one that stands out, that's different from the rest, that we talk about, that we brag about on Facebook? Think upstream. Think preventative. Do the hard things that drive change in the beginning, not the mundane, repetitive downstream that is reactive. If you do the preventative, you're probably not going to get the credit because no one will know there was a problem in the first place. I'll see you upstream. Pray hard, finish strong. See you guys.